Good morning. Let's start the daily discussion. First topic today that will be the Indian pharmaceutical industry and drug safety. The report of drug manufacture in India causing severe harm. Okay. Report of drug manufacture in India causing severe harm and thousands of recent deaths from across the world continue to trickle in. That means India is a major drug producer, but in the recent past there is allegation of Indian drugs leading to death of some person around the world. Anesthetic drugs. Latest of the report in the death of two patients in Sri Lanka who were administered Indian-made anesthetic drug. Okay. Eye drops. Just last month, eye drops manufactured in India has caused eye infection in about 30 patients and blindness in 10 in Sri Lanka. While anesthetic drug made in India caused death are a first in the recent past. Eye drops causing infection, blindness, and even death are reported a few months ago in the United States with the Atlanta-based Center for Disease Control and Prevention finding a highly drug-resistant bacteria there. Right? Okay. So in USA also there is death of patient using Indian drugs. Cough syrup. The series of adverse report against drug produced in India began last year when the WHO linked the death of at least 70 children in Gambia from acute kidney injury to cough syrup made in India. The culprit ingredients in the syrup was diethylene glycol and ethylene glycol, deadly chemicals used as a cheaper substitute for propylene glycol that should never have been found in any medicine. The two other drugs used in that medicine should not be found in the medicine, but they are in Indian cough syrup. Indian made cough syrup was again in the news when WHO flagged the contaminated drugs found in the Marshall Islands and Micronesia. The contamination was identified by the Australian regulator in Micronesia and Marshall Islands. That means India, which is struggling hard and which has built reputation globally as a drug manufacturing country, so it's okay. India exported pharmaceutical worth 1,75,040 crore in the financial year 21-22, including bulk drugs, drug intermediates. Also, India is one of the major producers of active pharmaceutical ingredients, which is popularly known as API, otherwise bulk drugs in the world. India exported bulk drug or drug intermediary worth 33,320 crore in the financial year in 21-22. Import, however, the country also imports various bulk drugs, API for producing medicine from various countries. We also import. So, especially Okay. So most of the imports of bulk drug and API being done in the country are because of economic consideration. Most of the imports, because we import them because they are available at a cheaper rate, and the import of API or the bulk drug is cheaper than being produced in India. That's why importing. Okay. So what is driving the growth of the drug industry in India? Okay. Talent pool. India has a huge talent pool. Trained pharmaceutical professionals having degree in pharmacy, MD pharmacy and M pharmacy. Generic drugs. The ability of the pharmaceutical industry to develop generic drugs at a much reduced price is mainly due to the trained professionals in the industry. So we have a number of trained professionals in the industry. That is why it is possible to give cheaper drugs. Manufacturing. India has a huge manufacturing base of pharmaceutical products, giving it way more flexibility in producing generic drugs. India is home to 3,000 drug companies and more than 10,000 manufacturing units. Potential of the Indian pharmaceutical industry. According to the Indian Economic Survey 2021, the pharmaceutical industry in India is expected to reach USD 120 to 130 billion by 2030. So the drug industry will reach 120 to 130 billion dollar by 2030. Industry related to the pharmaceutical sector. The other industry related to the pharmaceutical sector like the biopharmaceuticals, bioservices, bioagriculture, bioindustry and bioinformatics are likely to reach $150 billion in 2025 as compared to only $70 billion in 2020 within 5 years. So the scope of this being doubled. Fine. According to EY and FICI, innovation and R&D, healthcare delivery, manufacturing and supply chain, and market access are the opportunity that will drive growth in the year to come. Fine. The challenges in the drug safety of drugs, except for some customary inspections. The Indian drug regulator has so far failed to institute measures to make sure drug produced in India. Okay, so according to following the quality test, according to the Central Drug Standard Control Organization survey in 2014-2016, about 5% of the Indian drugs, several of them manufactured by large pharma companies, failed the quality test. Independent studies suggest that this figure could be much higher. The country's pharma industry has largely been in denial over quality-related concern expressed by national and international observers. That means, in India, quality control in pharmaceuticals is not a major focus area. That means, the drug industry in India is away from proper quality control. The cost of production is 50% less than in developed countries, but is still around 18% higher than China. So in India, we produce drug at 50% less, but our cost is 18% higher than the drug produced in China. This is attributable to raw materials being 20 to 35% costlier in India, electricity being 20% more expensive, and other costs such as financing, logistics, transportation, etc., being 30% more expensive in comparison to China. So our drugs are 18% costlier than the Chinese drugs. That makes our drugs costlier in comparison to China, but in comparison to the other drugs, okay, in developed countries, it is cheaper by 50%. It is cheaper by 50%, but costlier by 18% in comparison to China. Okay. Then regulation of the drugs in India, Drugs and Cosmetic Acts 1940, that regulates the import, manufacture, and distribution of drugs in India. The primary objective of the Act is to ensure that the drugs and cosmetics sold in India are safe, effective, and conform to state quality standards. The Drug and Cosmetic Act 1940 was amended by the Drugs and Cosmetic Amendment Act 2008 to provide for more stringent penalties for manufacture and trade of spurious and adulterated drugs which kill human beings. So spurious drugs and adulterated drugs are major issues. And in India, so these Drugs and Cosmetic Acts 1940 and the amended in 2008, it provides stringent penalty for manufacture and trade of spurious and adulterated drugs. New Drugs, Medical Device and Cosmetic Bill 2022 promoted changing requirement and encourage the adoption of new technology. The Minister of Health and Family Welfare released a draft bill in July 2022 to replace the existing Drugs and Cosmetic Act 1940. Okay, so the new act is known as the new Drugs, Medical Device and Cosmetic Bill 2022. This act governs drug importation, production and distribution across the country. Central Drug Standard Control Organization. It is the apex department of the Central Drug Standard Control Organization of the Government of India. The Central Drugs Standard Control Organization, the regulatory body for Indian pharmaceuticals and medical devices. It comes under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Drugs Control General of India. The Drugs Control General of India is the head of department of the Central Drug Standard Control Organization of the Government of India. It is responsible for approval of license of specified category of drugs such as blood and blood products, IV fluids, vaccines, and serum in India. The DCGI, Drug Control General of India, also sets standards for manufacturing, sale, import, and distribution of drugs in India. It is a regulatory body. So India needs to make sure that inspection records and review of drug applications are made public and put all generic manufacturers through the same test as company making new drugs. Doubts about Indian drugs will have dangerous ripple effect. India can contribute to be the pharmacy of the world, global south, only if the regulator begins and to behave like a watchdog to ensure drug safety and not as a facilitator for the pharma industry. The the drug control, drug safety and control office should not only act as a facilitator, but as a regulator to verify, inspect, and ensure that quality drugs are made available to the people of India. Okay, the next topic, India and the Vietnam Defense Tag. Vietnam is a country in the East Asia. Okay, and India gifted the indigenously built in-service missile Cohete INS Kripan Vietnam to enhance its naval capabilities. What is a Cohete? A Cohete is the smallest type of naval ship, falling below the frigate warship class. It is almost the most agile ship along the missile course, anti-submarine ship, coastal patrol craft, and swift attack naval craft. Properties date back to the 18th and the 19th century when they are extensively used in the naval warfare, duel that were fought at high sea. About INS Kripan is a Kukri class missile property displacing 1,350 tons of water was commissioned into the Navy in 1991. Kripan and shield were main weapons of Sikh. The design of the sword and the shield is taken from the Journal of Indian Art and Industry, Volume 6, reproduced from the specimen preserved in the Dhar Museum, which was displayed in the Indian and Colonial Exhibition of 1886. It has a displacement close to 1,400 tons, length of 91 meters, a beam of 11 meters, and is capable of speed in excess of 25 knots. The ship is fitted with a medium range gun, 30 mm close range gun, chaff launchers, and surface to surface missiles. India Vietnam Defense Relation. The deepening of the defense tie has been a gradual process. Nonetheless, Vietnam is the first country in the Southeast Asian region with whom India has signed a strategic partnership agreement in 2007, which from 2016 onward, after the visit of the Prime Minister to Vietnam, has been elevated to a comprehensive strategic partnership. At present, our relationship has been transformed to the level of comprehensive strategic partnership. In the early 2000, both sides also signed a defense protocol through which Vietnam could procure military helicopter equipment for the repair of Vietnam aircrafts. Joint vision on defense cooperation, memorandum of understanding on defense cooperation signed between the Ministry of Defense in 2009 and the joint vision on defense cooperation signed by the Defense Ministry in 2015 provided the institutional framework. Visit of Indian Defense Minister in 2022, it led to the signing of the new joint vision statement on the India-Vietnam Defense Cooperation Defense Partnership Plus 2030 and a memorandum of understanding on mutual logistic support. Both ministers also agreed for early finalization of the $500 million defense line of credit extended to Vietnam by India. Diversified engagement, apart from the cooperation between Ministry of Defense and two other between of the two sides. This engagement has diversified to wider military to military dialogue and exchanges, training program, and financial exercises. Cooperation in United Nations. Peacekeeping operations is another active area of over cooperation of our cooperation, defense industrial collaboration in another area in defense relation. In 2022, 12 high-level guard boats built by Indian manufacturers lessened the raw air handed over to Vietnam. That means our defense relation is not new, but it's going there since last few years. Bilateral military exercise are held periodically. Bilateral defense engagement have expanded over a period of time to include wide-ranging contact between the two countries, including defense policy dialogues, military-to-military exchanges, high-level visits, capacity building and training program, ship visits, and bilateral exercises. Significance of Vietnam for India. Artist policy. Vietnam has always been a critical partner for India in its Southeast Asian diplomacy, both under its Locust policy and now in the era of the Artist policy. India was the only country to have supported Vietnam's invasion of Cambodia in 1978. This has also stalled the process of India becoming a dialogue member in Asia because when Vietnam invaded Cambodia, so India supported Vietnam. That's why so India's membership of ASEAN, so the dialogue partner, was cancelled. Vietnam. So is surrounded by Cambodia, Thailand, Laos. Okay. Capital is Hanoi. This is the capital of Vietnam. So the Hanoi. Okay. And the Ho Chi Minh City. Okay. Potential regional power. India realizes that Vietnam is a potential regional power in Southeast Asia. With great political stability and substantial economic growth. Its average 7% annual economic growth is very attractive. Even during the worst period of pandemic, its economic growth remained commendable at 3%, while several other nations registered negative growth. Countering China, the wariness of other Southeast Asian countries when it comes to the growing influence in Southeast Asia for external power like US, Australia, India, among others, to balance a rising China is clearly visible. It is Vietnam which openly supports the idea of country like the US. India taking more interest in the challenges than the region in facing. Valuable partner. So Vietnam, though also is keeping its relation with China intact because Vietnam is a country which is in close relation with China, but also try to improve its relation with India. Fine. Although it is having close relation with China, but its relation with Hong Kong, plus exam Hong Kong, Hong Kong. Okay, so keeping its relation with China intact, give the economic benefit, but also does not shy away from calling out Beijing when needed. India's ongoing oil exploration project with Petro Vietnam OBL, Joint Business Limited of India, each have established tie-up with the Petro Vietnam. The China continues to object to India's oil exploration operation in area offered by Vietnam. Vietnam has lent its full support to India in this regard. This indeed makes Vietnam a valuable partner and player in the Indo-Pacific. Shared vision for Indo-Pacific, India and Vietnam agreed to strengthen bilateral cooperation in line with India's Indo-Pacific Ocean Initiative and the Asian outlook on the Indo-Pacific in order to ensure shared security, growth and prosperity for the Indo-Pacific region. Vietnam has mostly faced the brunt of Chinese aggression in the South China Sea since the 1970s from China's occupation of the parcel in 1974 to the occupation of the Spratly Islands in the 1980s. This threat has only intensified in recent times. This looming threat and Vietnam's reform attitude and foreign policy orientation will only provide the much needed impetus to Vietnam to look at potential like-minded players in the Indo-Pacific like India. India's vision of defense exporter, another push to further boost the UTS drive and defense industry collaboration has been for India's drive of establishing its place as a potential exporter in the defense sector globally. Way ahead, the drivers for the growth of trade and commerce are both strategic and economic. Both the country desire to do away from the dependence on China. The problem related to supply chain emerging in the recent years has also pushed them to consider an alternative supply line. Moreover, both nations desire a stable, open, free, and inclusive Indo-Pacific Ocean region. Thus, both have common objectives. India is pursuing the Act East policy and is working to make the Indo-Pacific free and open that will promote security and growth for all in the region of the Sagar initiative. These make the prospect for further growth of trade and commerce India Vietnam bright in the coming period. Why? Because the relationship with Vietnam is growing. Vietnam is the fastest growing economy among other Asian members. Okay, so that is why India is interested to develop its relationship with Vietnam. Research analysis showing the raw as it is. The appointment committee of the cabinet has approved the appointment of senior IPS officer Ravi Sinha, the chief of India's external intelligence agency, research and analysis wing called RAW, for a period of 2 years. He replaces Samant Kumar Goel, who is complete his tenure on 30 June 2023. What about RAW? Research Analyst Wing is India's premier intelligence agency and was created in 1968 to handle India's external intelligence affairs. The Chief of RAW is designated Secretary Research in the Cabinet Secretariat, which is part of the Prime Minister's office. RAW reports directly to the Prime Minister instead of the Minister of Defence. Since its inception, RAW is credited with providing intelligence support to many significant operations on foreign soil. Until 1968, the IB was handling both the internal and external intelligence. After the 1962 border war with China, the need for separate external intelligence agency was felt. During that conflict, our intelligence failed to detect Chinese built-up for the attack. In 1968, President Indira Gandhi appointed R.N. Kao as the first director of RAW. So, remember this, R.N. Kao was appointed by Indira Gandhi as the first director of RAW. Structure of RAW Research Analyst Wing has been organized on the line of the CIA of USA. The head of RAW is designated secretary in the Cabinet Secretariat. The secretary is under the direct command of the Prime Minister and report on an administrative basis to the Cabinet Secretary, who reports to the Prime Minister. Okay, next is the International Yoga Day that is celebrated yesterday. Okay, the International Yoga Day is celebrated with favor across the world. The yoga mark annually on 21st June since 2015 on Indian proposal. India proposed to United Nations to declare the International Yoga Day and even accepted it, and since 2015, 21st June is being observed as International Yoga Day. An invaluable gift of ancient Indian tradition, yoga has emerged as one of the most trusted means to boost physical and mental well-being. This year, the theme for International Yoga Day is Yoga for Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which beautifully encapsulates our collective aspiration for one earth, one family, one future. In the Omen 20 summit, recently, as a part of the India's G20 presidency, the Omen 20 summit was held at Mahabalipuram in Tamil Nadu. Theme Women-led development, transform, thrive and transcend. Other theme of the W20 or Omen 20 summit under the G20. What are the key highlights of the W20 summit? Discussion on breaking the invisible barriers and biases that prevented women from reaching higher positions and leadership roles in various fields were held. Government initiatives such as self-help group, PM Mudra scheme, and that government portal which allow women access to market and finance were highlighted. The gender disparity in economic participation are highlighted as women often face inequalities in accessing economic opportunities, including financial resources, market, and trade network. Participants have discussed systematic barriers such as lack of access to credit, limited property rights, and discriminatory practices which hinder women's economic empowerment. Celebration of strength, resilience, and progress in women's empowerment was witnessed also. So, W20 is an official engagement group under the G20, established in 2015 with the aim of focusing on gender equality and women empowerment. The first W20 summit was held during the Turkey presidency in 2015, and since that, it is being held regularly with every G20 summit. And this year, India being the chair, so I am hosting the summit. So India has hosted the W20 summit at Thiruvananthapuram. Coming to the question, disaster management is not confined to disaster response alone. In this context, elaborate on how the Government of India has brought about a change in the approach to disaster management from a relief centric to a holistic and integrated approach. So there has been a remarkable shift in the approach, thought and focus from the relief centric approach to a more proactive, holistic and integrated approach covering the entire gamut of disaster encompassing prevention, mitigation, preparedness, response, relief, reconstruction, and rehabilitation for the management of disasters through an improved disaster. It is a change in the way of thought process. It refers to a shift from reactive to a proactive approach, a paradigm shift in the Indian context. Traditionally, disasters in India have been addressed after the incident has occurred. For instance, the Bhopal gas tragedy or the later earthquake of 1993 and the Bhopal gas tragedy of 1984. After the incident took place, we responded. The severe damage incurred due to the Odisha supercyclone of 1999 served as a wake-up call for the Indian government. The impact of the Bhuj earthquake 2001, the catastrophic devastation caused by the Indian Ocean tsunami in 2004, revealed the major weakness in the system of disaster management in the country. So it was earlier the post-disaster activity by the government, but right now government is thinking the pre-disaster. National Disaster Management Act 2005, the Government of India took a definite step by enacting the Disaster Management Act 2005. The Act envisages the establishment of a dedicated institutional structure for disaster management in India and strengthening disaster risk reduction efforts across the nation. It mandated the formation of the National Disaster Management Authority, State Disaster Management Authority, and Disaster Management Authority in the country. It also proposes the development of a national plan for disaster management for disaster research and training purpose, establishment of the NIDM or NBCs. Specific funds like Disaster Response Fund at national level, National Disaster Response Fund, State Disaster Response Fund, District Disaster Response Fund level, and Disaster Mitigation Fund at the national level. Okay, so it's set up. Okay, authority was created and funds were set up. National Disaster Management Plan 2015. The plan provides a framework and direction to the government agency for disaster management and risk reduction. Regular conferences. The annual conference of relief commissioners, secretary to the Department of Disaster Management, State and Union Territory, is regularly organized before the onset of the southwest monsoon to review the status of preparedness for the monsoon and to discuss other disaster management related issues. Promoting a culture of prevention and preparedness. Deal with the minor intensity cyclone in Odisha. The Odisha Red Cross Society is managing 75 multi-purpose cyclone shelters constructed in the region to house the affected community during disasters. But in inter-disaster periods, the shelter used to train community for preparedness and disaster risk reduction activities. The Red Cross has trained communities in the vicinity of cyclone shelters in the first aid, search, rescue, disaster preparedness management, and cyclone shelter. Every cyclone shelter has a task force trained in the field, aid, research, and rescue, and a 30-40 community members committee manages these multi-purpose cyclone shelters. The disaster management inbuilt is development plan. The new developmental program and project are incorporating disaster resilient specifications in the design and construction. The NITI Aayog is giving the due weightage to these factors while allocating resources. Technology used in forecasting. India has partnered with the World Meteorological Organization, Pacific Tsunami Warning System, and other regional and global institutions for better utilization of the ICT tools that need to be used for data reception, forecasting, and timely dissemination. Mainstream disaster risk reduction in developmental planning. The integrated watershed management program by the Department of Land Resources, Government of India, aims to restore the ecological balance by harnessing, conserving, and developing degraded natural resources such as soil, vegetation cover, and water. The outcome are preventive of soil runoff, regeneration of natural vegetation, rainwater harvesting, and recharging of the groundwater table, enabling multi-cropping and the introduction of diverse agro-based activities. Okay. Similarly, the Manrega has also been extensively used not only to provide livelihood security but also to create flood mitigation structures like dikes, reservoirs, and rejuvenation of canals and natural water systems. Thus, through Manrega, the economic vulnerability of the population the address as well as disaster prevention and mitigation measures are getting incorporated. Conclusion: the National Disaster Management Plan takes into consideration all the phases and provides a framework and direction to the government agency for all phases of the disaster management cycle. India has considerably enhanced its capability in disaster management. The effective implementation of the disaster management is of crucial importance in making India disaster resilient, where India pursues the goal of sustainable development. Okay, so when India is following a path of sustainable development, so disaster management is a major issue. Right, so, so that is why so India is able to prepare a robust disaster management system. Coming to the MCQs, which of the following initiatives are part of India's bilateral relations with the USA? Initiative on crucial and emerging technology. Okay, is right. Initiative on critical emerging technology. That is right. Preparedness and resilience for emerging threat. No. Market of crypto asset. No, two and three. Only one is correct. The reference to phonon consider the following statement. Vibration energy can only be exchanged in form of phonons. Okay, that is incorrect. Each phonon represents the vibration of millions of atoms within the material. Incorrect. So scientists have successfully split phonon, paving the path for a new type of quantum computer called linear mechanical quantum computers. That is right. Only three is correct. The following Iris Kripan is a Kukri class missile covert. So it is right. It is indigenously built by India. That is also right, and recently we give it to Vietnam. Okay. So both 1 and 2 are correct. The following International Day of Yoga is celebrated across the globe on June uh, 21st. So 1 is incorrect. Okay. The year the theme Yoga for Vasundhara Kutumbakam is right. So only so this year theme of the Yoga Day. So Yoga for Vasundhara Kutumbakam. Okay. Yoga for Vasundhara Kutumbakam is right, but one is incorrect. One is incorrect. So only two is correct. Okay. Consider the following statement regarding the Musi River. The Musi River it originated from the hills of Anthargiri in Rangareddy district. It joins Krishna and Nalgonda districts near the Vajirabad. Okay, so both 1 and 2 are correct. The reference to Hindu Kush Himalaya, consider the following statement. It is considered the third pole due to the presence of the large volume of ice and snow outside the Arctic and Antarctic. Mongolia is also part of the Hindu Kush Himalayan region. So both are correct. Coming to 7. Recently, Indian Prime Minister will visit the 11th century Al Hakim Mosque, restored with the help of the Dawudi Brahma community located in Egypt. So this is Indian Prime Minister visit the 11th century Al Hakim Mosque, restored with the help of the Dawudi Bohra community, which is in Egypt, who has been awarded the prestigious German prize for this literary work. It has been given to Salman Rushdie, the famous Titanic versus fame, Salman Rushdie. Then comes the following statement: leadership in energy and environment design. Okay, leadership in energy and environment design (LEED) is one of the most popular green building certification program used worldwide. That is right. It aims is to help building owners and operators be environmental responsible and use resource efficiently, both 1 and 2. Recently, EU Push Festival, it was held in Odisha Pradesh. So, by this answer is A. This way, we complete our discussion for the day. Keep watching regularly, update yourself on the major development around you. You can update on a daily basis. Thank you for watching.